How's it going, everybody? Today we are back with another video. I will be doing an installation of 6 elements, Lite intake, and then also their turbo inlet. Waited a good while for it to come in. I think they were missing some parts, waiting for some stuff to get manufactured. This kit right here, you actually have to email them or call them directly to order it. They don't even have it available on their site anymore. So gonna get this installed today. I know that I've heard or read horror stories about getting that inlet, getting the factory one removed and getting, the new one installed. 6 Element, their version 2 of the inlet, they did upgrade it to make it, a bit easier to install. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not gonna have to use this. This is if you were actually not gonna be using any aftermarket inlet. This would actually normally connect from that factory turbo inlet to whatever intake for 6, but this will clamp directly on here, and then this is gonna go here. I did buy their little cap to cap off the recirculation hose for my blow-off valve, because mine is not recirculating. Where is it at? There it is, down in there. Mine doesn't recirculate, mine vents the atmosphere. And I did read that 6 Elements, their intakes are very particular about what caps will fit, so this will fit into theirs perfectly. So it was like $10. So stay tuned. We will get this installation going. Okay, so there's a few different ways to start, but I'm gonna basically start with loosening this clamp. I'm gonna take this hose off and then loosen this clamp, and then after that I'd already unclamped this, but I will take off this airbox too. So like I said, I'm gonna start from back there and just work my way this way. To remove your airbox, it's just, you're gonna remove this one right here. 1, 2, and 3. So we'll get those removed next. And this is a 10mm socket. I'm gonna remove those 2 plastic fasteners. Everything should be able to come out now. There we go. Put this to the side. All right, now time to try to get this inlet off. Pray for me. I know we'll be okay. But so this is the inlet that came with the 6 Element turbo inlet. So when I researched how to get this one off, they basically recommended that you get like the top one that you can see, and then this one, and then rotate this. I want to say they said like downwards, and then it may make it easier to get the one that's behind the inlet over there, a little bit easier to get out. So I do have a bunch of different extensions. I even ordered one this one actually is supposed to bend. It does bend, it's flexible. I ordered a 10mm kind of rotating. It's for an impact, but I did order this one too. So I wanted to try to have as many tools as possible just in case I ran into issues. So let's see if I can get this done. I also am going to utilize this magnet when I'm getting these bolts out, just to prevent them from dropping into the engine bay. Also too, this factory inlet uses a gasket. I'm gonna still try to save it. What they recommend is once you get all of the bolts removed, before you just pull it off, they recommend zip tying the gasket to the inlet, just very loosely, so that way you don't drop that into the engine bay. You don't have to reuse that gasket with 6 elements inlet. It does come with, let's see if I can focus. It does come with an O-ring, as you can see. So that's one of the cool things about their inlet. So let's get this bad boy removed. Stay tuned. That's 1, 2. All right, so you can twist this, so that should help me a little bit to get that back one. I am gonna put a zip tie through here to keep this gasket attached to the inlet. Okay, so this is my setup for that last bolt. I have that flexible extension attached to my socket. This hose right here is not that flexible, but I was able to kind of go around it, and I'm attached to the bolt. So let's see if I'm able to get this out now. Oh man. And there's your gasket. Got it. Cool. I just have a clean rag. I'm gonna just kind of just wipe around the edge of the turbo right here, and we'll get the new one installed. A little bit of dirt. So I was unable to find torque specs for, you know, how tight this should be. I am gonna just use a small drop of medium grade Loctite, and I'm not gonna go crazy with tightening this down. So once it's snug on there, I'm gonna leave it alone because I don't want to strip any threads or anything. So also, this turbo inlet, like the bracket, whatever you want to call it, mount, does have a certain orientation that it sits on the turbo. Let's get these bolts put back on. So I'm getting this last one started. I'm using a ratcheting wrench. It's still pretty tight. And then once I get the other 2 snugged, we'll get them all snugged down. Put some tape around the bolt for this last one, just to get it started, and then we'll snug them all down. All right, now we're gonna get all of these snug down. We're not gonna over tighten, and we should be good to go. All right, y'all, we're gonna put the inlet elbow on. Very easy, it's literally gonna sit in like this. I'm gonna go ahead and snug that one clamp down so that way it's easier to push everything else in. Next, we're gonna install the intake tube and then connect this hose right here. Make sure that you may have to turn this tube kind of counterclockwise to make sure that orange little grommet is flush against the intake tube. All right, next piece, I don't know what you would call this, a little adapter, elbow, I don't know. But that little cap will go here, and then the air box connects on this side. All right, so now all we have left is the airbox. So now that everything's installed, we're gonna get all the clamps tightened down, and then all I have left is to put the little cap in. All right, everybody, everything is all snugged up, tightened down, everything feels good. The one little thing I did run into, the clamp that was supposed to go here, it was too small, like it would not fit. Luckily, I had a spare one, a bigger one in the kit that they sent, so I just put it here, and that's why you see so much of this. And I kind of just turned it this way so it's not obvious. I may change it out. I'm not overly concerned about it. This is where the cap goes, where your recirculation hose from your blow-off valve would normally go. Obviously, like I said, I removed that with my BOV. You can see that I did not install their high flow air filter. I'm just gonna stick with OEM. You know, I don't care about just the increased airflow at the sake of having less air filtering. I'd rather have, you know, that quality air filtering. So I know that this is not gonna, you know, give me huge horsepower gains anyway. Intakes don't really do that. This is more so just for sounds, especially with their inlet. I'm expecting maybe a little bit more nice sounding turbo, but outside of that, you know, this isn't going to be a miracle if I just put this in here. So I'm just going to worry about keeping clean OEM filters in there. And I'm just going to kind of keep this to the side right now. So outside of that, y'all, let me know if you have any questions. Really not a bad install, obviously, once you get past getting the factory inlet removed and then getting the new inlet installed. Once you're done with that, everything here is pretty self-explanatory and easy. So hope you all enjoy this video and stay tuned for more. Thanks.